Now, as we go back to more traditional Raw matters, we've seen this odd but awesome development, no pun intended, in the Miz, Ziggler,
Huh?
Sandow. Yeah, I'm pretty awesome about that. Ziggler actually got some mic time. That first was pretty amazing. Obviously, we can talk a little bit about the whole Photoshop thing, even though it wasn't really Photoshop, but obviously taking advantage of what happened last week with the fappening or the stealing of the iPhone photos that happened with the whole cloud situation. So, part one, what was your reaction when you found out it was going to be that type of segment?
I mean, the gut reaction, thanks to John Cena's abuse of it, is, oh God, another Photoshop segment. By the way, thank you for using the word fappening in this podcast. I cannot express how happy I am. But no, it felt like, oh God, they're going to use Dolph for this bull poo, but no, it ended up being not bad.
Yeah, I was really happy that it wasn't going to be another Photoshop thing where we're supposed to believe that, these guys went out of their way on their computers with Photoshop and all that to get it done. The only thing is with these photos, and I'm gonna be super smarky nitpicky.
Let's talk kayfabe for a minute here.
who is taking these photos? I mean, especially the one where you get Sandow in there. It's like, it's one thing if it was Sandow taking the picture,
And the
I mean,
quality,
they just the quality looks like it's exactly from WWE's WWE.com's like photo gallery. Like that's what it looks like it's from. When it's like, why didn't you just have Miz use his cell phone and take a couple selfies? And then there you go. It at least looks a little more authentic. So that's my
what
little
if he took a
nitpickiness.
selfie of Sandow doing that?
Exactly. Like, how
weird
is that?
thing.
Does that looks a lot more realistic or whatever? Shut up, Smark. I'm done.
no, but at least it wasn't the whole Photoshop thing. Now, obviously, there are those things we can get all super smarky about. Shut up, Smark Rhino. But it was nice that at least we got Ziggler with a little bit of character. The crowd was actually invested in that. But then the other thing I got to bring up is how awesome is that whole pairing of Miz and Sandow.
Well, exactly. I talked to you guys yesterday while we were watching Raw, and just the amazing thing of it, and especially how Sandow was mimicking every motion that The Miz was doing when he was walking down to the ramp. That was absolutely gold. The best part of this is he's supposed to be like the stunt double, yet he looks nothing like The Miz, and that's what makes it hilarious, because they could have picked someone else that maybe looked a little bit closer to The Miz in looks or whatever, more of like the pretty boy type, but the fact that Sandow has the full-on beard and he's supposed to be like the stand-in and everything, it's great. I love it.
So are you looking forward to this feud based on that? I mean, they are investing some serious character development time, so we don't have just Miz, we don't have just Ziggler, we have this third character, so it's really nice that the Intercontinental Championship is getting some good exposure.
You know what this feels like? It feels like a real mid-card feud, and that's what I like.
Guys, don't we have this conversation like at least 5 times a year, though, about, oh my God, they're actually investing time into the Intercontinental title, and then 3 weeks later we'll be like, oh, the Intercontinental title.
Yes, we do. So obviously I'm not going to play devil's advocate and try to justify it or not. However, I will try to play devil's advocate and justify by stating that as opposed to having it being Big E or something, we have 2 characters that are well established as that humongous plane that's going by right now. But we have Miz and Ziggler. People know about these characters. When it was Big E, it was like, okay, who's this new guy? Oh, they're going to develop him now. It was bittersweet that with Barrett, we were going to be getting something like that, where it was an established guy, but obviously the injury happened. So my question to you, Ryan, first is sort of, does this make it different then? We have 2 guys that people know about and a championship.
I think the jury's still out on whether the Intercontinental title is going to remain important going forward, but I think ever since The Miz has had it and they started this whole Hollywood Miz thing and then Ziggler won it, I think ever since The Miz has won it that they've been pretty good with having it feel important and at least having a storyline surrounding it. So basically since then, I think it's been pretty good. Who knows in 6 months if it's going to fall off the map again. but they've been doing pretty good the past month and a half or so.
The last thing I wanted to bring up that we haven't really discussed is whenever we talk about a babyface in a championship situation, we always talk about them chasing the championship. Now, here's a storyline where we have the complete opposite. We have the champion that is a babyface, and the heel character, it almost makes sense that he's chasing it as opposed to winning it, because even when we got the match between them at the pay-per-view, nobody expected Ziggler to win. So how interesting do you think that is, and do you think it's being effective in that manner?
Honestly, it feels like a Chris Jericho style feud from back in the day, where it makes sense where he's champion, but he's using almost comedy to establish why he's the champion. He just keeps getting over. Like, think about Chris Jericho and William Regal from back in the Attitude Era. How Jericho was the champion there, but he'd do things like P in Regal's T and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I like that. And also just the thing I bring up all the time is the title trades. You know, you can have the title go back and forth every once in a while. This seems like a case where that can happen.
Exactly. So a lot of cool stuff happening there. For everybody listening, I would really like to know, are you buying into this? Because here's WWE sort of giving us something that we constantly complain about. Oh, the IC title is inexistent. Oh, whoever's IC champion doesn't get character development. We're getting all of that. So is it going to work? Hopefully it does. Sandow, he's benefiting a lot from this. So maybe even he'll get something out of the health situation. And
what if he comes out on top here? Like, what if this all ends with Damian Sandow being the Intercontinental Champion?
That's the awesome thing about it, though, is that anything can happen. He can easily turn on him. It can lead to a triple threat match where everybody discards him as a possible winner. He wins. Then it's sort of like a backstab. Guess what? We have options. How awesome is that?
What about this? What if Sandow wins the belt, but the Miz he says he's champion and he just has his stunt double do all his matches for him?
Oh man,
he can sit in that director's chair that he had and just watch Sandow.
Okay, now I'm just picturing, imagine that in like a Rusev feud in the future where it's like two people controlling the people in the ring. Man, there's so many options, so many awesome
things. It's almost like a video game.
Exactly. And speaking of something like a video game, not really.